Hey everyone, Andrew back again and welcome to another video, and today it is Saturday, so I'm here with another slasher review as part of the TheHORROrmans Slashback Slasher Challenge series. And this week's theme is modern slashers, so I'm going to be reviewing and talking a little bit about Haunt. This one is really recent. It came out in the later part of last year, 2019, so I thought this one would be a pretty awesome one to review. So Haunt is centered on Halloween night, and it centers around a group of people heading out to hopefully discover a extreme haunt. So this group of people find an extreme haunt in a pretty rural spot out of town, and they decide to enter. Upon arriving, one of the hosts of the haunt greet them at the door, basically give them a quick clause and ask them to hand over their cell phones. So they oblige. They end up putting their cell phones in a safe, and basically they're told that they will get their phones back once they have completed this haunt. So they enter the haunt, they start traversing some of the horror themed rooms, and it becomes very clear pretty quickly that basically this group of people, they're trapped inside and they're not getting out alive, because this extreme haunt is a no ordinary haunt. The hosts and the people running the haunt are killers. So yeah, they're basically there to get picked off one by one, become these haunt hosts' victims. So that is essentially the storyline to this movie. Now we'll move on to what I thought of this one. So I've got to say, right off the bat, this was probably my favourite slasher of last year, and it's definitely my favourite movie centered around this particular theme of like haunted, extreme haunts, that sort of thing in terms of a slasher movie. I don't really know what you'd call this particular genre, but there's been a few movies like this over the past couple of years. We've had Bloodfest and Hellfest, which were both centered around horror and Halloween themed amusement parks. So this particular genre, or not really a genre, but this particular theme of movie is becoming pretty popular. And yeah, I've got to say right off the bat, this is probably definitely my favourite one which falls under this theme. I think they just did everything really well. So first and foremost, we'll talk a little bit about the location on this one. So this one pretty much is solely centered within this extreme haunt location, and I think it's awesome. It's out of town, it's in a really isolated rural setting, which is perfect for this type of movie. It's in like this big sort of abandoned warehouse place, and it just works really well. I really like the horror themed rooms. There's some fantastic rooms done up within this extreme haunt location, and all of them are really awesome. It's kind of done up like a maze-like place too. So yeah, it definitely is a really awesome location. I think they absolutely nailed it for this particular theme that they were going for. Now on to the characters. I thought the characters were all really good, which was kind of surprising to me because this is sort of a more low budget independent slasher movie. But I thought all the characters were fantastic, especially the main character Harper. She was really good. But yeah, I mean, pretty stereotypical characters that you come to expect from these sort of slasher movies. But as I said, the acting was all pretty good, and I had no issues. There were no characters that got on my nerves or anything like that, so that is definitely a plus. I thought the killers were fantastic, and I liked that there were multiple killers in this one. So there wasn't just one particular killer. And the other thing that I really liked about the killers too is that they didn't overly complicate their costumes, and it kind of definitely reminded me a lot of more simple but traditional Halloween themed disguises and costume, which I really liked. You know, there was a clown, a devil, a ghost and a witch, which was pretty cool. So pretty traditional, classic costumes, but they all worked really well. And yeah, there's a couple of the masks there on the covers. So the killers were fantastic, and as I said, I really enjoyed the fact that there were multiple killers throughout this film. It definitely worked really well for the type of movie that it was. This one, it didn't have an overly high body count because it was pretty much just focusing on this particular group of people, but this one did have some pretty good kills and there was some good gore throughout. There was also some really good suspense. There were some pretty edgy as seat moments throughout this movie when the characters were trying to get away. But all in all, I thought this was an absolutely phenomenal Halloween themed, extreme haunt themed slasher, done really well. I thought they had a really good balance of everything within this movie. You know, you had a bit of character development and storyline. I felt the balance between the slasher elements and then the extreme haunt location elements were done perfectly. And that was probably one of the biggest issues that I had with Hellfest. I kind of felt they focused way too much on the haunted attraction location, and the slasher elements kind of took a little bit of a backburn, but not with this movie. I felt everything worked perfectly, and yeah, everything just sort of felt really balanced within this movie. So big fan of this one. I really enjoyed it a lot, and without spoiling anything, I thought the ending was absolutely fantastic. So all in all, I definitely thought this movie was fantastic, and yeah, I would probably say that this was definitely my favourite slasher movie of 2019, and yeah, just a ton of fun. So if you're a fan of these sort of Halloween themed, extreme haunt themed slasher movies and you still haven't checked Haunt out yet, I definitely highly recommend it. Really good. So if you've seen this one, let me know what you think in the comments section below, and obviously again, if you haven't seen this one, I definitely highly recommend it. Anyway guys, that is it for this week's review. Until next Saturday when I'll be back with another review, I hope you've enjoyed this one, and as always, thank you for watching.